Good morning. I'm Captain Javier Moreno with the Salvation Army, and this is my wife, Captain Kelsey Moreno. And we are in Rapid City, South Dakota with the Black Hills Area Command for the Salvation Army. This morning, we're joined by Hannah Carlisle, the reigning Miss Alaska. And we're glad that you could join us this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting. I really appreciate it.
So we just wanted to go through and ask you a few questions, get to know you a little more and know a little bit more about your role as Miss Alaska, and then how that can work with what we do with the Salvation Army. So our first question for you this morning is, in your role as Miss Alaska, you're obviously a role model for so many. And so we just wanted to know, what do you hope to inspire in the next generation?
Yeah, that's an amazing question, because inspiration is what leads us forward in what we do in our lives. And I think something that I've been very inspired by is the beauty of the diversity of our country. And something that's important to me is that no one people group is left out of the beauty of our country, of our freedoms, of all that the United States has to offer. So something that I hope to inspire in my generation and in the next generation is to care for all the people groups that make this beautiful melting pot. Particularly, I'm really working on helping minority groups and also underserved communities of all backgrounds succeed in education, because that's one way to help the next generation move forward to have a better future for themselves and for everyone.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know, kind of researching your platform and what you have dedicated your work to. You talk a lot about equality in education, and so what does that look like to you?
Well, equality in education actually looks a little bit more like equity in education. And the difference between the two words is equality says everybody's given the same thing. Well, that doesn't actually happen in the United States, but equity says everybody's given what they need to succeed. Mm-hmm. Now, equality in education would be a great achievement for the United States to achieve, to reach for all communities, especially minority communities and underserved communities across the U.S. People that don't have the same chance at education that other people get. Right. But even more than equality in education, I'm hoping to reach for equity in education, because some people come into the US or just come into this life starting out with so much less, or the schools start out with so much less, and they don't have as much to offer the students to succeed. And I know you guys play a huge role in helping communities that start out with less to help bridge the gap between opportunities. And so for me, a good education system would reach beyond even equality in education, but actually shooting for equity in education, giving everybody what they need to succeed, to have at least the same opportunities.
Yeah, that's fantastic too, because different communities have different needs and they start out with different resources. So not everybody needs, a community in California is not necessarily going to need what a community in Oregon needs, a community in Alaska is not going to necessarily have the same needs as a community in South Dakota. So I think that's a very important point. Yeah. And then I know too, you recently graduated with a master's degree in International Education Policy and Management. Did I get that right?
Yes, that's right. I also got graduate certificates in both global and the Latin American and Caribbean studies.
And see, that's what I wanted to ask you. Can you share with us how your work has taken you even beyond our borders of the United States?
Yeah, most definitely. So my work as Miss Alaska USA, my studies, and my work as an education consultant all kind of come together, because in my opinion, I do what I care about in all areas of my life. Mm-hmm. So with my degree in International Education Policy and Management, I've made connections with various ministries of education and various organizations around the globe. I think in every continent other than Antarctica and Australia, I've worked with various education organizations, but particularly with my platform, Miss Alaska USA, or my platform, Equal Chances for an Equal Future as Miss Alaska USA, I've gone to Belize City most recently, where I was helping the Belize Ministry of Education. Professionally, I was helping them create an after-school program, but voluntarily, I got to lead a fundraiser. Part of some work that I'm doing with the Salvation Army also is we're raising school supplies for underserved communities, not only in the US, but my hope is to get abroad to communities near and far, all the way up from Alaska down to Latin America and to the ends of the earth and everywhere in between to help people succeed. So we actually did successfully raise enough school supplies to fill every classroom in a few village schools that I was working with. And those school supplies, I think, are actually still getting used right now. So hoping to start this new school year with all the troubling times that COVID has given everybody across the globe. And I know right now there's a lot more need for help in the school systems, and I'm sure you guys are doing a lot about that as well. And I'll ask you guys about that in a little bit.
Sure.
So how did you actually get involved with the Salvation Army?
Yeah, so I've always heard about the Salvation Army, as most people do. We go there to buy things and donate for people that are in need. But it was this last Christmas break. I was spending Christmas break in South Dakota in Rapid City. I wanted to do some volunteer work there, had some community there, some community connections there. So I decided to go there for Christmas break. And while I was there, I actually got connected with the Rapid City, South Dakota that you are based at. And I just started by volunteering as a bell ringer and giving tiaras to all the girls that came through and all the families that donated to the cause. And from that, I got more interested in learning what the Salvation Army was about. Before getting involved in the Salvation Army, I was preparing school supplies to send to a local reservation, the Pine Ridge Reservation, and just sending some Christmas gifts to them. And then I found out that the Salvation Army actually does the very same thing and so much more, providing for communities' needs via electric bills if they need it, or school supplies, food, anything that a household need to continue to strive, to continue to thrive, or just make it even to the next step. So that really encouraged me when I was even just bell ringing actually with Captain Javier. He informed me so much about all that the Salvation Army does to help communities succeed in their livelihood as well as educationally. And that really encouraged me to join in their efforts so that I could be a part of the good work that's going on in Rapid City, South Dakota and across the globe, since Salvation Army is an international organization.
Yeah.
And we thank you for everything that you're doing to help out in that effort.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys for letting me join you, and thank you for joining me too. Everything goes two ways. Everything is more successful when there are more hands involved.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wonderful. So do you have some questions for us too?
Yes, I'm very curious because I love everything that the Salvation Army does, and I know of a lot of really great things you guys are doing, but I just want to get more information. What is the Salvation Army doing right now to support children returning to school during this pandemic?
That's a great question. For many years, communities all over the country have done a school supply drive, in August, so that kids go back to school with all the tools that they need to be successful. This year it looks a little bit different. We're not able to do some of the collection methods that we have in the past, out in the public, standing at storefronts where we would normally be. But we're still committed to that mission of making sure that however kids are going back to school this year, whatever that looks like in any community and in our communities here, that they have everything that they need to be successful. And many of our communities here in South Dakota are going back to school in person. And for me, that just really confirmed that it was even more important this year than any other year for every kid to have their own set of school supplies, for every kid to have their own glue stick and their own pair of scissors and their own notebook. So, that they have everything that they need to be safe in school and to succeed.
Right. I love that. That's so beautiful. That reaches right at my heart. That's so good. I'm curious, what can people, anybody in the U.S., internationally, anyone, do to join with the Salvation Army and making sure that children do get the tools that they need to start the school year?
So a great thing is actually happening this weekend in partnership with Walmart. It's a program called Stuff the Bus. And so as people are out and about this weekend, August 7th through 9th, they can actually donate school supplies at Walmart locations that are participating by dropping school supplies into donation bins that are placed at those Walmarts. And then we actually also have a way to go online and donate school supplies virtually through the Walmart Registry for Good.
Okay. Can you tell me, how does the Registry for Good work?
Yeah, so the Registry for Good is kind of like a wish list that we put together and we put online at walmart.com, and people can go on to walmart.com and look up the Registry for Good, even for their local community. But for us here in the Black Hills, our Registry for Good is set up so that our wish list contains like a huge variety of school supplies, so that when people are online shopping, they can select an item for the Walmart Registry for Good, and that item that they purchase will be delivered directly to us. And then they don't even have to leave the comfort of their home. They can shop from their couch in their pajamas and do a good thing by buying school supplies for children in need.
I love that. That's so convenient, and it helps people continue social distancing, or for
Right.
people who are at risk, that gives them the opportunity to still involve themselves in the community. So I really love that you guys are taking this online. And the Stuff the Best program sounds so fun. That sounds like Christmas in August. I
Yeah.
hope that people will join this effort. And that is just this weekend. Is it happening all over the United States just this weekend?
Yeah, there are many communities that are choosing to participate, and there are also probably some communities who raise their school supplies in a different way. They may have like a community-wide effort. So the best way for people, if they want to support the Salvation Army's Back to School effort, is to contact their local Salvation Army and find out exactly how they're doing it. But many of us throughout the country are using the Registry for Good and collecting at Walmart storefronts.
Wow, that's so fun. I love that we've been able to create some kind of ideas to still gather school supplies for people during this pandemic. And I really hope that everyone who sees this video will be able to see how they can get involved despite the trying times that we're in right now.
Yeah, and I definitely think I've been so encouraged, even in my own community, to see the way that people have really rallied together to meet the needs that have arisen, that were present before the pandemic and that have come up because of it. I think that there's a lot of creativity going on right now, and I'm just so encouraged to see people still going out of their way to make life better for someone else. It's fantastic, and we're so happy to have a partner like you in this effort.
Well, it's needed now more than ever right now. There are so many people that don't know how to make it even to the next day. So I'm also super excited for all the creativity that people are coming up with and reaching people's needs, and for everything that you guys are doing in reaching everyone's needs. I really appreciate your efforts, and I'm so thankful to be able to join you guys in these efforts as well.
Yeah, thank you for spending some time with us this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're
Yes.
glad that you could be with us, and glad that we could take part in this video conference. And again, just thank you so much for all that you're doing to help support our efforts.
Oh, thank you guys for letting me join you.